This is one hyped up brand. If I hear Aventus one more time. Founded in London in 1760 by James Henry Creed, this is one of the only dynastic family-owned fragrance houses that still exists today. Creed has been creating fragrances for royalty since 1781, where the house was first commissioned by King George III. In 1854, Creed relocated to Paris by request of Queen or Empress Eugénie of France, for whom the fragrance Jasmin Impératrice Eugénie was created, which still exists today. It was later in 1885 appointed as official British supplier to the royal court by Queen Victoria, as well as royal supplier by Queen Maria Cristina of Spain. Now, this was just the beginning of a long line of royalty, of members of state, of celebrities, etc., that have been loyal to this house and turned to Creed to find their fragrances. The name Creed really lives up to the cult following that this house has managed to build without any commercials, without any advertising. And the fact that this house still exists today and is so strongly placed is definitely remarkable. Now, everyone talks about Aventus, so I'm going to talk to you guys about my picks from the House of Creed. Starting with an easy breezy one, we have Original Vetiver from the House of Creed. This is the 100 milliliter bottle. This was released in 2004, and this is Creed's modern take on the classic vetiver scent. This is not your typical rooty, dry, earthy type of vetiver. This is actually quite juicy. I sent sweet ginger initially, then it has a powerful blast of bergamot, and the ripe, juicy vetiver comes forward. This was created with both the root and the leaves of the vetiver, which to me gives it this fruity type of edge. So juicy, delicious vetiver. It's a vetiver for everyone. I'm actually not myself very into vetiver fragrances, not purely vetiver. They end up turning sour on my skin, but this is very wearable, both by men and by women. It has a gorgeous soapy feel and it dries down beautifully on the skin. It's fresh and oh so easy to wear. It's long lasting for a fresh scent, I would say, and it's been heavily compared to Mugler cologne, which I can kind of see why you would compare this to that, but Mugler cologne has a strong neroli note to my nose, whereas this has no neroli whatsoever, and I would also say it's more long-lasting. This was created by Olivier and Erwin Creed, the current noses of the house. Next in my selection, we have Tabaron Millésime. This was first created in 1875, and this is the reformulated or relaunched version from 2000. This is an homage to tobacco, and it's said to have been used by Winston Churchill. It was one of Winston Churchill's favorite fragrances. This definitely has a cognac-y tobacco vibe to it. It's a very gentlemanly scent with ginger, sandalwood, tobacco, and leather. This was created by Olivier Creed, and this is specifically marketed towards men, whereas some of the others are actually marketed as unisex. So I really enjoy this one. I am a fan of tobacco fragrances. It's a heavenly clean tobacco scent. It's not cloying or overpowering at all, and I would recommend this to a very classy fellow. This has a moderate sillage and moderate longevity as well. Next is Millésime Impérial. This is from 1995, and this is the wonderful gold bottle. This is inspired by citrus groves and the countryside. Now, the Millésime mark is actually something that Creed uses a lot, and it's to identify that they've used the finest ingredients and harvested the finest crops for a certain year that a bottle has been made, kind of like the way they do with fine wines. This has citrusy top notes, iris, and aquatic notes in the middle. Then it has some ambery woody notes in the base. Millésime Impérial, although I hate to admit it, has a fairly weak sillage. I cannot smell this on myself after a short while, unfortunately, so I do like to amp her up with some sort of oud fragrance. I've shared this on my Instagram. And the longevity, I would say, is moderate. So considering the prices that you're paying for these fragrances, performance isn't optimal. The older formulation of Millésime Impérial is actually meant to be better. I can't really speak about that one because I only have the newer version, but it's a fairly safe fragrance, I would say. It's an easy go-to. It's very likable by most people. It's not something that jumps out of you in any ways, so it's fairly inoffensive. So to sum up those three, for the clean, I would go for the Original Vetiver. For the classy, I would go for Tabaron Millésime. For the fresh, pleasant, inoffensive, I would go for Millésime Impérial. Now, for the wealthy, I would go with spice and wood. This I actually really enjoy. It says gilded with 10 karat fine gold, yada yada. These are very pricey even for Creed. This is the 75 milliliter bottle that I have here. And this manages to be fresh, yet very spicy, still woody, very sophisticated, classy. I have it on right now. And this was created by Olivier Creed, 6th generation, as part of the Royal Exclusives line. So this is the second launch from that line. And this was inspired by the love story between Cleopatra and Mark Antony. This is actually meant to be celebrating both Europe and the Orient. And I find that kind of like a suitable description. You could say that. Definitely European and sophisticated in some ways, but then spicy and Eastern in other ways. It's described as woody fresh, and the freshness comes from the apple in the top note. This is a very handsome scent. I do sense a strong pepper note and strong birch note. The dry down is just gorgeous. It does end up with a softer sillage, unfortunately, again. Now this retails for £350 for 75 ml and £750 for 250 ml, and that's that big, round, beautiful splasher bottle that comes in the larger size. So spice and wood, there you go. Now specifically marketed towards women, we have Florissimo. This is from 1956. This was actually commissioned to be Grace Kelly's scent on the day of her wedding, and this was commissioned by her fiancé, Prince Rainier of Monaco. It was meant to complement Grace Kelly's bouquet on the day, and I would describe this as a bouquet in itself. I mean, it is a floral, beautiful blend. It's a soft bouquet. You sense the tuberose, the iris, the violet. I'm not a huge fan of tuberose myself, but I can get away with it in this fragrance because it is so pillowy. It's an elegant floral with a vintagey vibe. It is from the 50s, but I do enjoy wearing this one. So those are my picks from the House of Creed, guys. I hope you enjoyed them. If you're considering purchasing Creed for either yourself or for someone else, then I hope that I've given you a few ideas. Please be informed before you cash out. These are expensive fragrances, of course. Let me know what other Creeds are must-haves for you. What else should I maybe have had in my list? Let me know down below. How do you feel about this house? Is it overrated? Do you feel that the hype is justified? Let me know as usual. Do find me on Instagram if you'd like to see more behind the scenes, more from my collection. I share a whole lot of other things. It's a whole other world on Instagram. I will list that below. Thank you so much for watching.